say this without any shadow of doubt. If the beauty and serenity that is the Narok Sculpture Park out in the cradle of humankind were to be packaged, it would sell like hotcakes and the world would be a much better place. What more with their current exhibition titled Play. Welcome to this edition of the Art Bulletin. And thank you very much for staying with us. It addresses the question of whether words give us acceptable reason to take action or whether words themselves do constitute action. That's the multi-award winning artist Willem Boshoff's latest exhibition that is on at the Goodman Gallery in Johannesburg. It's titled Oh My Word.
Oh my word being such an exclamation, and then words like oh and no on either side of the gallery, both of which have an exclamation mark in their title. So they are meant to make this dramatic impact. And I think they are about reaction and about reaction to a lot of the other themes that underlie the work. There are two main streaks to that. One is about the sad history of violence that's going around the world at the moment, and there are references to both the Iraqi war, the current situation in the Middle East with ISIS, and also to environmental concerns. And so that exclamation and that shock and horror are quite deliberate.
Care in Context. Transitional Gender Perspectives is a book that was edited by Vasu Reddy with the assistance of 3 other contributors. It focuses on what care is and who is responsible for providing it in relation with gender inequality issues. The book was launched on Tuesday evening in Durban.
Care in Context is a book about the social dimensions of care as an issue that we all grow up with but we take for granted. In other words, it's about what are the meanings of care, what are the policy implications of care, why does care matter in a world that is full of injustice, inequalities, prejudice, etc. Care in Context is really fundamentally about the relevance of care in a world that has become uncaring. This is a book that's intended for a diverse audience. In many ways, this is a scholarly work. It's a book that is based on research and is intended for readers who are policymakers, programmers, academics, researchers, students. So in many ways, it's pitched at an audience who are interested or curious in understanding care in a little more detail in terms of its complex understandings.
Young spoken word collective Word and Sound, which is much loved and revered for, among other things, their annual Word and Sound Spoken Word and Live Music Festival will host their 3rd annual Word and Sound Awards. Now, considering the kind of year they've had, including their appearance at the National Arts Festival in Grahamstown, it looks like the award ceremony is going to be explosive. It takes place on the 15th of November at the Market Theatre Laboratory in Newtown.
Each year on the Word and Sound stage, we get to see some really phenomenal works of art that unfold. I think that's the one thing that's really, I think maybe kept Word and Sound going, is the fact that artists keep pushing themselves further and further. And I think it really just came up just from the company to then say, how do we say thank you? How do we honor excellence? How do we encourage young people to keep pushing themselves? And that's really the reason behind it. And how do we look back on a phenomenal year and say, wow, that was really awesome, you know? So that's really the reason behind the Word and Sound Awards. So at the end of the year, we then get together and then really pick out those moments, you know, or those poems and those poets who have really just blown us away. We have an entire discussion around that, and then we put out nominations or nominees out for public vote for 3 of the categories.
Among the many collaborations the artistic community has given birth to, one shining example has to be one that brings French and South African students together. Now the 2 groups work together to design solutions for social issues in the Johannesburg area. The project is called Design Thinking Workshop.
One of the criteria to evaluate a project in design is how many people do a project allow to make work, and to help being part of a community and a creative or working community, but how design is situated in between politics, economics, social, and aesthetic is really pushed aside. It's never a question of how beautiful it is, but how we can make a difference within the community itself. So that really struck me, and I wanted the students to feel that.
Are you looking for something fun and adventurous to do with the little ones? Maybe the Dino Expo currently on at the Johannesburg Zoo is just the thing for you. It showcases life-size moving dinosaur models and other additional activities like a dinosaur movie and so much more.
We had an arrangement with Joburg Botanic Garden and the zoo, because they are together. Joburg it's called Joburg City Parks and Zoo.
Yeah.
That we could market the Dinosaur Expo inside the zoo. So we had some activations whereby we were walking dinosaur and doing dinosaur face paintings and instant photos. Our expo is mainly on entertaining. It's an outdoor event. When they come here first, they obviously enjoy the activities that we are here, like the dinosaur digging, which are dinosaur fossil digging. They will also participate in different activities that we have, such as the dinosaur coloring. We also have other activities, like outdoor activities, like rollers on water, we have jumping castles. They can do also a dinosaur photo shoot, having photographs taken with a dinosaur. Our center of attraction is one of these juvenile dinosaurs that I'm holding, which are puppetry animated dinosaurs that represent the young dinosaur, or like the juvenile dinosaur. Like, for instance, this one is a young Triceratops. But we also have a very big show, which is about 90 minutes. It's a theatrical show of an African man who is having an encounter with a dinosaur.
It can be said that the age-old debate that art is elitist because it's presented in intimidating galleries is a thing of the past. The latest addition to public art projects that seem to be mushrooming in and around South Africa is the SA Taxi Foundation Awards. They'll put works by emerging artists on South Africa's minibus taxis. Now, this will happen from next April. Here's more information in the next clip.
First thing is to highlight the importance of the taxi industry and the contribution that it makes in society. And not just for the lower ends of society, but also fundamentally to everyone who participates in the economy. Art also transcends particular barriers like education and societal barriers, and everyone can find expression in art regardless of their language or culture. The competition is intended for emerging artists, so artists who have not had a formal showing at a gallery or formal exhibition. And anyone that's older than 21 years of age. The theme for the competition is destination, so we aren't very prescriptive in terms of the type of art we're looking for, as long as it is an interpretation of the theme. We have a website, sataxiartaward.co.za. The artists are able to register on the website, or they can contact us directly for entry forms.
A journey through the Johannesburg Park, Cemetery and Zoo. That's the title of the latest book by Lucille Davey, which uses colorful photographs to tell the story of how the city of Johannesburg came to be. Now, this book highlights, among other places, the Johannesburg Botanical Gardens and Uber Park. The book was launched this week.
It's prudent that we should capture the history of this heritage in a small, readable book, so that our children and their children can really walk through the canvas of history of this city, which is a history of opportunity, a history of exploration, but more importantly, a history about survival from this Iron Age to date.
The stories are just so rich, Joburg stories. I think the one story that I really love is the story of tracing the grave and finding the grave of Enoch Sontonga, the father of our national anthem. It was a serious piece of detective work on the part of one of the City Parks and Zoos officials, Alan Buff, because there wasn't actually a map, a plan of that part of the cemetery, Braamfontein Cemetery.
And that's how we come to the end of today's edition of the Art Bulletin. There's obviously more where that came from, so you can tune in next time. That's tomorrow morning on Morning Live. In the meantime, you can visit www.naroxarts.com to find out more about this picturesque and serene venue. To keep in touch with us, you can always tweet at Morning Live SABC and hashtag the Art Bulletin. Until next time, it's a goodbye from us.
SABC News delivers stories
that unify the nation
in many ways. Stories that inspire us
to see the world differently, appreciate
and celebrate our diversity.
And mostly,
they make this place a better country to live in
despite our color,
beliefs
or culture.
I
am
Hendra Raghunath.
Tabile Ngwato.
Lulu Kabu.
Join us every day
as we provide updates on
local and international news
straight into your home.
We